welcome back to my channel. My name is Tina and today I'm going to be doing another one of my makeup and murder series. Today we're talking about Brenda Spencer. She was what is considered America's first modern day school shooter. I understand that this topic may be too difficult for some of you. This is the type of thing that bothers you. I have lots of other videos that have nothing to do with this. If you want to learn more about this case and why I think that we do need to talk about it, even though it is really hard, please keep watching. Today I'm going to be doing a pink and green look. I'm going to have a picture of my inspiration for today's look. I will be using the Thank Me Later primers. I already sprayed my face with my Skindinavia spray primer. And then for foundation, I'm using the Tarte and Milani together. Brenda Ann Spencer was 16 when this happened. On January 29th, 1979, Brenda Spencer woke up, pulled out the Christmas present of a rifle her dad had bought her for Christmas. She decided to shoot up the elementary school right across the street from her house. Brenda is kind of an odd case to me. She stands out in school shooters for a lot of reasons. First of all, she's a girl. Second of all, she was an honor roll student. You don't often hear these kids who do this being honor roll students. She had been having problems with the school because she had been missing a lot of classes. So what we know about Brenda, she ended up living with her dad, and I think that that's a whole lot of why things went terribly wrong for her. Because she went from being a very, very good student to suddenly being in trouble all the time. So they moved her out of her regular high school and into a school for troubled teens. They were living in total poverty. They were sleeping on the same mattress in a tiny, tiny little apartment. It was just a very bad situation. She was a tiny, tiny little girl. She was only about 5'2" and maybe weighed 100 pounds. So she was very small. In 1978, she was put into a mental hospital because she was suicidal. And then she was put on probation because she was truant and she had shot out the school windows with a BB gun. So what does her loving father give her for Christmas? A real gun. He gave her a 10-22 Ruger. He gives her this gun and 500 rounds. She woke up. She waits till 8 o'clock in the morning. The teachers come out, they open the gates to the elementary school, and by some reports she picked up the students by the colors that they were wearing. She was shooting at her favorite color, blue. 8 children were injured. A police officer was injured. The school principal and custodian were both killed. So I'm going to contour with my Smashbox contour stick, and this is my Wet n Wild dual index stick. She fired 30 rounds and hit 12 people. That's being a pretty decent shot. And with a 22, it's not really surprising that more people weren't killed. She could have killed children, but she did critically injure some, so I don't exactly think she was trying to miss them. While she was barricaded in the house, a reporter called and asked why she was shooting at the students, and she replied, she hated Mondays. Now that's a really flippant response. It shows her immaturity and a lot of other things right there. And at the moment it sounds like I'm defending her. I'm not. I'm just trying to give you some understanding of the psychology behind why school shooters happen. So one of the things that we know contributes to school shootings is absentee or kids that don't have a parent actively involved in their life. Combine that with guns and bullying, and you have the recipe for disaster. In the newspaper, when kids were asked about her, they said, well, she had red hair and freckles and was just really crummy looking. You could see how, if at the time, the mentality behind these things was very different. So I'm going to use my Brow Gal pencil, fill in my eyebrows, and now I'm going to use my e.l.f. Clear Brow Gel. When she was tried as an adult, which isn't surprising. That would happen nowadays too. So first I'm going to start with this neutral shade from Smashbox, and just putting that all over my lid. And then I'm going to take my Smashbox Trio. We're going to start off with this dark plum over here. And I'm going to do my crease and outer V with that. I'm going to take my Too Faced Clover palette, and I'm going to take that Daddy Loves Me, and I'm just going to sort of blend that together with the color that I just put in there. And now I'm going to take Love Is Love start bringing that in and brightening it up across my lid. I'm using the dirty brush from Daddy Loves Me because I want a little bit of that deepness to come across the crease. Brenda Spencer, her life took a sharp U-turn. She was a really good student right up until her parents got a divorce. And that's when things really go awry. I'm gonna take EBG, which is this super bright pink, and I'm just gonna fade this out on the top and then towards the inner corner. So you can see from her school record where things just really start to go wrong for her after her parents get divorced. She claimed later that her dad abused and sexually abused her. When she brought this up a couple years after she was in prison, I think it was at her appeal or something, they completely blew it off and were like, nope, you never brought that up before. We don't think that's what happened. I think that the odds are really good she was sexually abused by her father. There's no good reason that a daughter of 16 would be sleeping with her father on the same mattress, and it was the only mattress, so she didn't have a choice. There was a lot going on there, and he was not a stellar citizen either. So now I'm taking this bright blue, and I'm putting that in the center of my lid. I'm going to grab the Magic palette, and I'm going to grab some of that really deep blue, and I'm going to kind of start smudging around this outer side of that to create that really deep effect. Now I'm going to take Best Friends and Spoiler, and I'm going to start making the lid kind of shiny. I'm going to take some MAC Fix Plus and try to get this to work. I'm going to go back in with this bright pink and just bring that all the way into the corner and up around the top just to bring that pink back. So I'm just going to take this NYX glitter glue and put that where I really want this to pop out at. Just going to go back into Best Friends, build that up a little bit here on this outer corner, and then use Spoiled, which is the blue. I'm going to conceal with Tarte Shape Tape, and now I'm going to use my Butter London Double Decker. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to use my Rcma No Color Powder and setting my under eyes and stuff. So the trial for her went really fast. I believe they tried to use the defense of not guilty by mental incapacitation, or basically she was crazy because she had been in a mental institution the year before. The jury gave her 25 to life, so they actually gave her the ability to be on probation. She has said publicly she regrets having done the shooting, and that because people have said that she started the whole thing. I think that's a little unfair. I don't think one person makes or breaks this sort of thing. At the time of the shooting, she had said that she was going to take officers down with her when she was arrested during this whole standoff. She didn't. That's a lot of bravado and talking smack. I think there's a couple things here with her case. This was not a dumb kid. She was an honor roll student. She was bullied and harassed, but she was very smart. She knew the impact of what she was going to have on these children. And these weren't teenagers she went to school with. These were little kids. We're talking 8-year-olds here, which is where my empathy for her just dissipates completely. I have a son who's 16 and has autism. Recently, they had a thing at school where it was like join in instead of walk out or something. When I had first seen it, I was like, wow, you know, that's a great thing to do to get kids involved and stuff. Until he came home from school that day, just distraught, because he said, the kids think I'm a school shooter. Because autism can seem like a kid who's disenfranchised, isn't getting to join in when they want to. The difference is that kids who are autistic don't really want to join in. They don't really want to be involved. That creates a great deal of anxiety for him. So what started off as a really good idea quickly turned into a, oh my gosh, now what do I do? For me as a mom, you know, we sat down and we talked about it. Unfortunately, I think that's the thing that a lot of these kids were missing. They didn't have somebody to sit down and talk to them. Most of these kids that are involved in these don't. They're from homes where, you know, things aren't great. Giving a child who is suicidal a gun for Christmas, and she was asked why she thought her dad had done that, and she said she thought he wanted her to commit suicide. And that also tells you a lot about where her mindset was at the time. Doesn't excuse it. I feel like I'm going to have to repeat that a lot right now. I'm going to take Daddy Loves Me on my little blending brush, start bringing that around the bottom here and this outer corner. And then I'm going to take Love is Love, which is the pink, drag that into it. And then I'm going to go back into the super pink that I have in my Juvias Place palette and take a little bit of that and really pop that bottom. And to clean that up, I am going to take my little bit of concealer I have left on this and just make that line a little neater. For blush, I'm going to use the CoverGirl True Blend in D. On this little fluffy brush, I'm going to take this Smashbox light pink color here. It's a satiny, shimmery color, and I'm going to put that along my brow line. It doesn't look like it in here. That is a super beautiful, like, pinky highlighty color for your brow bone and stuff, and inner corner. In the pan, it just kind of looks flat, and then I'm going to put that on my inner corner. And then use some more of my mascara. For lipstick, I'm going to use my Maybelline 24 Hour Color. This lipstick, it goes on and it does not come off. And for highlight, I'm going to use Pearl. Really beautiful color. And I don't care how pale you are, this color would work on you. I have some brand new lashes that are teeny tiny. We're going to see how they work out for this. And then I have this Real Her lash glue I haven't tried before, but I love the fact it has a brush. Yeah, you can't even tell I have that on there, can you? So I don't know what the point of these lashes is. I can't even tell I have them on. Can you? I'm going to take a little bit of my pure eyeshadow foil and just dot the very inner corner. I forgot to rim my inner waterline, so I'm going to do that with this purple. I thought that this case was really important to discuss. One, it's kind of unusual and different, and it proves that it doesn't matter what type of kid you're talking about. Bullying can affect any of them. I would guess that she was physically and sexually abused. I would guess that she was physically and sexually harassed at school. None of that excuses what she did. Lots of people suffer all kinds of horrific abuse and don't do this. There's something else there. Having a father who, even though she was suicidal and had been in so much trouble the previous year since their divorce, went out and bought her a gun and the ammunition. She felt her life just didn't matter to him. When you feel like that, it devalues everybody else's lives as well. That's kind of how depression works. That's why people commit suicide. These kids that are doing this, I don't think you can just put them into a category and say this is the kids doing it, because she defies almost every one of them. And that is important to know because it tells us more about the psychology that is involved in creating this type of mindset that makes it okay to go on a mass shooting spree of people. And we need to deal with that. When you hear a kid talking about doing something like this, you need to turn it in. Call it in, even if it's a false alarm. If you hear them talking, even if it's in a joking way. Once somebody verbally states something, the odds of them doing it goes up by 50%. So if somebody's talking about doing something, typically talking about something comes after fantasizing about it, and people brush them off and think, oh, they would never. Obviously, this is a problem in our country, and we have to deal with it. And the only way we deal with it is if we take it out of the darkness and put it in light, shine a big shiny light on it, and say, this is a problem. No, we're not going to allow it to happen. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody does, but I do think education needs to start happening. But we need to be talking about these types of cases in a different way. I'm not sensationalizing this at all. You know, there's a problem here and we need to address it. There's a great big elephant in the room right now. And one of those is lack of parental supervision. Just because your child is a teenager and they act like they don't want your attention and they shove you off and they stomp off to their room, don't stop talking. If your child is at risk for suicide or anything else, you should know it, because if you don't know it, then at that point, I'm going to say it like it is, you're a shitty parent. If you're actively involved in your kid's life, you're going to notice something like that. And if you notice it, you need to do something about it. They might act like it doesn't, they might shove you off, and they might say, go away. Doesn't matter. Stick your nose in their life and get involved. With teenagers, you kind of have to do that. If you want to get something done with them, you're going to have to force your way in and make it happen. That's your job as a parent. It's not a lot of fun all the time, but that is your job. I think right now we're failing at that job. And her parent, her father specifically, absolutely failed. Like across the board, did everything wrong that you could do wrong. He created the perfect storm, and that is being apathetic, being abusive, not being involved, giving her access to weapons, devaluing her life, making her feel that her life didn't matter. Those things all contribute to these situations dramatically. We know this. She probably will get parole at some point. I don't think she should be getting parole anytime soon. She still poses a danger to society. I don't feel she's paid her debt yet. When you start killing people and shooting children, that debt is much bigger, even if you are 16. A lot of times I'm much more empathetic to teenagers who make mistakes like this because their frontal lobe isn't done growing. I think she needs to be kept locked up for another 10 years. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts on it and on this type of case. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Bye!